Speaking of help, this person in the FSHD Society community is an amazing. She is Anna Gilmore, and she is logging in right now. There she is. So many of you probably know who she is. Hi, Anna. How are you doing?
Hi, Tim. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. It is great
Good.
to hear. I know you always bring the energy every time I've met with you or talked with you. It's always like just radiates a lot of good energy. So thanks for spending some time with us here on what maybe is a busy Tuesday for you. I don't know. What are you up to today?
It is a very busy Tuesday. It's a busy week, in fact. My family has COVID. So, so, so I have we actually, nobody got that sick. My husband got a little sick, but the kids are fine. So here's my request for our listening audience, should anyone be paying attention right now, is I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I need activities because we're in isolation and it is 30 degrees outside and it's hunting season. And so we can't go out for that long and they are wild. Any activities you all have, like low setup activities, I need them.
Man, wow. That is a lot. You mean, my brain is trying to fire some ideas for you right now,
All right. Well, I'll need them all week. So take your time.
I mean, I've done some crazy, when the boys were younger, off the wall things that even my wife will go, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm making an obsstacle course in the house."
Yep.
What?
Couch sports, great.
Exactly.
Yep. All that kind of things. Yep.
Yeah. The floor is lava. That's fun too.
Yes.
Just get out the old good basic. Yeah. This is good. Well, I'm sorry that you have to deal with that at this stage. Wow, that's terrible.
I know, me too. It's I was telling my friends though, it's the best case of the worst case, that nobody got that sick. So we're fine. We're fine.
just get through it. So how much longer do you have to be in this isolation bubble?
The rest of this week.
Rest of the week.
So
keep those ideas coming, folks. We need you to, any fun
give me some ideas.
Yes. Keep them active without killing each other. How about, you can always, you get like like how you take your socks and you kind of, pair them up in little balls, you could have like a snowball fight.
That's a great idea. I remember doing that as a kid in my friend's basement.
Yes. Yeah.
That was great. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Tim. I'm going to write that down.
They might not all be the best safe ideas for the house, but how we said, let's just do it. We'll ask for forgiveness later,
Yep. Absolutely.
So tell us what's the big news in the world of FSHD Society, where your neck of the woods. Oh my gosh.
The big news in the world of FSHD Society? I mean, you had Mark on earlier, didn't you?
Oh, come on.
The big news. The big news is that, it's 2021, right? And I think me especially, like, I felt like as we were coming into 2021 at the beginning of the year, I was kind of like, oh, 2020 is behind us, moving on. And I really felt like, oh, COVID is over, but then it wasn't over, right? It didn't go away.
Clearly, you have it now.
Clearly it's here. But I think like a lot of people, like the whole country really got sort of this pandemic fatigue, right? Like we're just sort of spiritually lethargic, just low, but not my chapters. So, for those of you who aren't on the East Coast, I get the privilege of working with the volunteer leaders, the chapter directors, the fundraising leaders, all of the amazing volunteers that we work with sort of all up and down the East Coast. And these folks have been so creative this year, so resourceful, and just kept the energy up and kept showing up all year long. And so that's kind of been the big news and the big activity here, is that like we're not taking a break, we're not taking the time off, we're still here and we're still working. And I say we royally, it's them.
Well, you're a part of it. Come on now. I mean, you have a huge role here that you play
Oh,
in
thank you.
helping organize that. Yes, and helping keep the volunteers, sane, focused, not feel overwhelmed, encouragement. Those are some of the things
Yeah.
that always pop into my head when it comes to yourself or even Lee. There's
Yeah.
there's that, I don't know, just reassurance, like, you got this, you're good. And the fact that you're managing or help managing all these chapters, that's a lot.
It is, but you know what? They make it so easy. And they have come up with the coolest things this year. So, we have obviously our signature walk and roll event, which is our national fundraiser. We also have had just some really cool other things that have happened. The Western PA chapter did a drum and roll instead of a walk and roll. So it was a play off of our national event. The Tampa group did like a clay shoot, like clay pigeons.
Oh, really?
That was their event this year. And then coming up in Columbus, actually in like 10 days, still 11 days, we have a chapter meeting with Dr. Harper, who I know you spoke with a little bit earlier. And just like some really, really cool things are going on, all over the place. So just lots of props to my people for really pulling out all the stops and making this year the best one yet, despite all obstacles.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot of obstacles. Absolutely. Now, how long have you been with FSHD Society? How long has it been now?
Over 3.5 years.
So over the 3.5 years, what would be some of your, strongest impressions of the group or the people that you've come across, if it's patients or family members and chapter leaders and whatnot?
So my big impression, and this is the first time I've worked in the rare disease space. I know that like a lot of my colleagues sort of come from other rare diseases. I did not. So this is my first foray, but I really get the impression that this community, the FSHD folks in particular, have this fearlessness about them. And I think what I mean by that is that they're just so open and so willing and ready to go, and I think it could be like a generational thing too, a little bit. I certainly have heard a lot of stories and anecdotes about older generations who are more closeted about their symptoms. But everyone I've met of every age is just so open and unabashed about their diagnosis, their symptoms, how it affects their life, and really just sort of approach FSHD as factual. This is what it is. This is how my life is, without judgment. It's just a non-judgmental approach. And I think it's really like a model to society at large for how we should treat disabilities and abilities and different abilities of all kinds.
Right. I like that approach. Yeah. It is that way, isn't it? Yeah, I've kind of noticed that. The adaptability factor. For those that
people are creative in this community.
Massively creative and knowing how to use their skill set, accordingly. Fine, you took away my ability to reach for something, I'll do this then. Almost like in spite of it. Like, forget you, you're not stopping me, I'll just figure a way around it. And the adaptability is always amazing to me.
It's awesome.
It's just so cool to see. Over the 3.5 years that you've been here, from when you first started, if you can recall, to where the society is now, how would you gauge the growth, or how would you kind of sum it up?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So, I came from higher ed, which is very institutional. It's very bureaucratic. And I think one of the things that attracted me to this company was that they're very nimble, very agile. If something needs to be changed, it doesn't take 6 months and 8 signatures and this much paperwork to do it. They just change. Right. And so, I think the amount of change I've seen in 3.5 years is staggering, because when I started 6 months after Mark. And so there were only 7 or 8 of us at the time. And now there are 13 of us.
Wow.
And even that amount of growth is kind of wild, right? And it's not growth for growth's sake either. We're doing that because we needed it, because there's that much more activity in the field that society is helping to drive. And it's so exciting. And I just can't even fathom what we're going to be talking about 3 years from now, right? I mean,
Right. Yeah.
even after we get to the cure, which we will together, there will be other projects in the pipeline, but I'm so excited. It's so close.
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of get that sense, don't you? That
Yeah.
I know when I found the society, whatever it was, 6 years ago, whatever that was, it was, I mean, I wasn't even handed a pamphlet from my doctor. Here is what you have,
Right.
It was like, this is what it is. Not much you can do about it. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. And then trying to find something, and then, thank God for Google and the internet and all that. And,
Yeah.
there they were, that little bit of a light in the dark, like, okay, here's some answers. Here's some clear cut answers. And there's not doom and gloom. There's hope, we're working on this. We got this. And then almost implores you to want to be a part of it at some point. What do you say then to those maybe listening, watching, kind of on the fence to get more involved? They're not quite sure. You might be the right person to ask, what's your speech? What's your tipping point to tell them, come on, we need you?
Wow. Well, let's see. So the question is, why should they, like, what's the pull? Why should they get involved?
Yes. What is like that final pull? They've contemplated from afar, like, I kind of want to be involved. I'm not really sure what to do.
Yeah.
And,
well, I think there are a couple of things. Like, there are a lot of different ways you can be involved. There are a lot of different avenues you can travel to be engaged and involved, and pay attention. And something that Mark said to us one time that sort of sticks with me is that it takes two tracks to move a train forward, right? So on the one hand, you have your academia and your industry and your regulators, and those are all crucial, obviously. But equally as important, you have the voice of the people who are affected by the disease. And that's so critical, in part because you can't have research without research subjects, right? But also, you need that voice of the patients, because their values drive therapy development and persuade regulators to prioritize effectively. And the field needs you. So if you're looking for an invitation to get involved, consider yourselves invited. We need that patient voice just as much as we need everybody else. And I would say that they should get involved with the society, because when we bring all of those voices together, that's when we make the biggest difference, right? So, like, you're the guitar and we're the amp. You make the music, we make it loud. When we come together as a whole community, that's when we can really take that train and put rockets on the back of it, right? So we need you, and we need you in a lot of different ways. And so officially everyone's invited to be involved.
Good. Okay. All right. You got it. Everybody RSVP, please.
Yeah.
Overwhelm Anna's inbox, her email inbox, and say I'm on board.
Yeah.
You have a final maybe thought, or maybe something you're looking forward to coming in 2022 here?
Oh my gosh, Tim, it's so far away, but it's so close. I am looking forward to Connect. We missed our opportunity to have the Connect conference in person in 2020. We do it every 2 years. So the last time I got to see a whole ton of us together was in 2018. And that just feels like a lifetime ago. So I am so excited for June 2022 in Orlando, so I can see you all in person again.
That sounds nice. Orlando sounds nice right now.
It does. By the time we get there, we'll be complaining that it's hot, but right now it sounds awesome.
Maybe. I don't know. I love the heat, I'll tell you, man. Well, thank you, Anna, very much for joining us. For connection, if anybody needs to get a hold of you, how do they do that? How can they find you?
They can find me. We all have the same email format. It's first.last@fshdsociety.org. So Anna.Gilmore. We all come through the same phone system. So 781-301-6060. I mean, anyway, email, phone, you can text me. Any old way you want to reach out. I'm here.
Well, thanks, Anna, for joining us. Good luck with the week
Thank
as
you.
you battle through the quarantine craziness. Oh man, if I have more ideas, I'll definitely send them your way. That's what I
Please.
got.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me, Tim.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.